With Afghanistan and the dramatic fall of the capital. Just today, President Biden sending more troops, a total of 6,000 now, to speed up the emergency evacuation of the embassy staff and some Afghans who helped the U.S., such as interpreters and their families. The White House releasing this photo of the president being briefed on the developments on the ground. Helicopters and black smoke visible. American diplomats, including the ambassador, evacuated to the airport. At least 500 staff leaving the country so far. The embassy shuttered, the flag coming down. Secretary of State Blinken declaring to ABC's Jonathan Karl, this is manifestly not Saigon. These images from Al Jazeera claim to show Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace. Earlier today, the president of Afghanistan fled the country, saying he chose to avoid bloodshed. Thousands of Afghans now scrambling to get out. The Kabul airport packed earlier today. We have team coverage. ABC's Martha Raddatz, Rachel Scott standing by. But we begin with our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who leads us off tonight from...
Tonight, the Taliban taking Kabul, Afghanistan's capital and last government stronghold. This footage from Al Jazeera purporting to show Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace declaring the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, marking the end of a 20-year experiment of democracy and the stunning completion of the militants' dramatic takeover, seizing nearly all of the country in just over a week. Earlier, there were skirmishes and panic at the city's airport. The Afghan president, Ashraf Ghani, fleeing as the Taliban closed in, saying in a Facebook message he wanted to save Kabul from bloodshed. Smoke rising over the US embassy, Chinook helicopters taking off, evacuating US personnel from the country, and eerily reminiscent of the fall of Saigon.
This is manifestly not Saigon. The fact of the matter is this. We went to Afghanistan 20 years ago with one mission in mind, and that was to deal with the people who attacked us on 9/11. And that mission has been successful.
The Biden administration defending the US withdrawal from the country, but clearly caught off guard by the Taliban's rapid advance. Just today, President Biden sending more troops, a total of 6,000, to hasten the emergency evacuation of the embassy and some Afghan visa applicants. Today, the flag removed, the doors shuttered, the US ambassador and all operations transferred to the airport for safety. Embassy staff told to destroy sensitive equipment and documents, especially those containing images of the American flag that could be used as propaganda. And on the streets of Kabul, fear and despair. Long lines as residents scramble to withdraw their life savings, many saying the banks simply running out of cash. And a desperate crush at the Pakistan border crossing as people try to flee. And chaos at the airport as thousands of Afghans desperate to get out. Just 5 weeks ago, this was President Biden, adamant that what we witnessed today wouldn't happen.
The likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
But tonight, the worst predictions for Afghanistan's future coming true. In less than 3 months, the Taliban capturing control of nearly every major district outside Kabul. Just this morning, taking the city of Jalalabad before advancing on the capital. This video, released by the Taliban, claiming to show their forces being cheered by residents in the streets. And now the women, and especially the girls of Afghanistan, who've grown up in a country where they have freedom and rights, fearing all of that will be stripped away. This displaced schoolteacher says she watched girls being lashed by the Taliban just for wearing sandals. Yet Miriam here, still defiant.
I'm not afraid of them. We are not the people who will, go back to the dark era. I'm a girl and I don't care about anyone. But what should I be scared of? This is my homeland, my land.
Her land, this country, now under Taliban rule. After 20 years of war, costing trillions of dollars and tens of thousands of lives. Tonight, so many questioning, what was this all for? And what will the future hold? General McKenzie, the head of US Central Command, met with the Taliban in Doha today, telling them not to interfere with the US mission at the airport, warning that the US has the firepower to defend themselves while they work round the clock to get everyone out. Tonight, the panic, chaos and desperation at the Kabul airport, then forced to shut down. Thousands of Afghans crowding onto the runway, surrounding this massive C-17 military jet, some clinging to the side of the fuselage. Horrifying local reports saying people could be seen falling from the plane as it took off. The despair at the airport overwhelming. Throngs of people swarming up the walkway, trying to board one flight, forcing themselves inside another, the pilots unable to take off in the chaos. This disturbing video even showing a child being pulled aboard, hanging by that rope. This image obtained by Defence One showing hundreds of people packed inside one plane. Barbed wire separating the airport from the desperate masses stranded outside. Dozens climbing the walls onto the airfield. At least 7 people killed in the chaos. At one point, gunfire erupting on the tarmac. Officials confirming US troops shot and killed at least 2 armed men as thousands streamed onto the runway and at least 1 US military service member injured. US troops forced to hold their ground at gunpoint. The Taliban announcing they're now in full control. 20 years of American and NATO-led gains collapsing in stunning fashion in just a matter of days. Armed checkpoints around the city, the Taliban now separating foreigners from locals. Militants seizing control of the main route to the airport, only allowing foreigners through. Just 5 weeks ago, the president was adamant that a complete Taliban takeover was unlikely.
The likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
But under growing pressure to address the unfolding crisis, President Biden today saying he stands by his decision.
I stand squarely behind my decision. After 20 years, I've learned the hard way that there was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces. The truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we had anticipated.
And on the images now seen around the world, Afghans holding on to that C-17, scaling the airport walls, the president acknowledged how difficult it is to watch.
I am President of the United States of America, and the buck stops with me. I'm deeply saddened by the facts we now face, but I do not regret my decision. American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves.
And this is the new reality tonight. Images from Al Jazeera seen around the world showing Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace, triumphantly declaring the restoration of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. The militants sweeping through major cities in a week. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, likely in an effort to save his own life, fleeing the country he vowed to protect. But tonight, already chilling new reports of mounting human rights abuses against women and girls. Many concerned the freedoms gained over the last 20 years in education and the workplace now in jeopardy. We visited this school for girls in April.
My wish is to raise the women's voice. What really I want is to be a very well-known journalist. I will go for an interview in front of the boss, and if he asks me that, what is the main reason, what is the main wish did you hear, I would tell him that I want to sit in that chair that right now you're sitting. I really want that.
But tonight, in a country where women leaders have only just been welcomed, they now fear for their lives.
For sure, I'm afraid of myself, my life, and my freedom to work and my freedom to speak up. These are the things that I'm afraid of losing them.
Western city of Farah, Taliban fighters patrolling the streets victorious. The white flag of the Taliban hoisted high over another of their latest victories, the provincial capital of Kumri. That video, and ones like these, released by the Taliban themselves, claiming to show their growing arsenal. A helicopter left behind by retreating government forces and a treasure trove of Humvees and heavy equipment at a former army base now under their command.
One of the things that you didn't see mentioned here that I recently found was, we got to remember that during Obama's presidency, that there was a trade, okay, for U.S. prisoners, and Taliban leaders, I'm saying leaders, like the ones sitting in the Capitol, okay, they were released from prisons here in the U.S. and they're now ruling. We believe that that plays a major role in why the army was able to assemble so quickly, because key leadership was restored to the Taliban, and we got to pray for that country. There are Christians there, there are women there, children there, and the rules have changed drastically. So please keep them in prayer. Continue to watch Last Days Voice. Please go to our website, lastdaysvoice.org, where not only my videos are uploaded, but watchmen on the walls and people who give me great content, such as Jason A. will be uploading his videos. I will be loading up anyone who's on top of what's in the end times. Last Days Voice is about all of us who are voices in the end times. So pray for us, pray for America, pray for the world, and pray that everyone would be ready when Jesus comes. God bless you all.